Cain ponders as he looks at the names all over the walls that surround him. He finds different parts of the map to go and place markers, checking name by name off the list. He knows he'll eventually have to meet them all, but for now, he just needs to figure out where they all are. At this point, he's getting really, really good at it. And with this, Hell on Earth begins. Nina was always distant from others because she felt different. Most people slept through the night and woke up refreshed, though Nina always found herself waking up dreadfully tired. This would lead to Nina recording herself while she slept, and this showed her many odd occurrences. These types of incidents would motivate Nina into the sciences of hypnotherapy. She will never truly understand until I show her who we are. Over time, Nina became renowned in the field of hypnotherapy, though with all her awards and achievements. For Nina, it was all about understanding who she is and what is going on with her. All of her time and knowledge would eventually lead to this night and this experiment. The experiment would have Nina put herself into a hypnotic state as to mimic her sleeping. From this point, Nina would set up a camera to record everything while asking the being questions from a recorder. It seems she may be smarter than I gave her credit for. As Nina came back to her senses, she sat and watched the video of her experiment and learned of her sad fate. Nina decides to go for a walk and talk out what's going on. Nina ponders about the Archangel's answers to her questions like, why is her path in life a vessel? Why is she being sacrificed for the greater good? Nina also learned that the being inside her is the Angel of Dreams and the Archangel, Jeremiel, who does God's work while Nina sleeps. Nina wanted to be angry, but how? Jeremiel is doing God's work. How can I be mad at that? This is when Nina started to hear a song in her head. Why is Father's song playing? We must figure this out quickly. Nina made her way, feeling compelled to find the music source, till she came upon what she could only describe as a bound angel in a tent. Nina asked the woman, "You're an angel, aren't you? And were you playing the music?" The bound angel replied, "Well, half. And yes, that was me. I am Abel." Nina felt odd asking her next question. "Can you talk to the angel inside of me?" Abel asked for Nina's hand, which she gave, and as they touched, Abel saw Jeremiel in all of his glory. Abel asked Jeremiel, "Are you willing to help this champion and help me against a coming evil?" Jeremiel replied, "My work is more important than your squabbling, but I will not stand in the champion's way, but my work must get done." Abel released Nina's hand as Nina asked, "Did you just speak to Jeremiel?" Abel replied, "Yes, and it made it clear it won't stand in your way if you wish to help me." Nina felt Abel might help her, and so Nina agreed, but asked what she needed. Abel replied, "That's great. I have a few more champions to find before it's too late, so I hate for our meeting to be cut short." Abel continued, "All I need from you is to find a vehicle and be ready when you hear my song." "Don't you mean Father's song?" With this, Nina made her way outside of the tent, but Nina felt compelled to look back, seeing a short man with the eyes of a reptile. Demonic filth. Then the tent disappeared before Nina's eyes. A man, or sort of one, started out his culinary career as a lot of people do, from the ground up, Starting as a dishwasher at a local restaurant, over the next 15 years he would rise through the ranks till it was Thornton himself as head chef. Thornton wowed his customers with his delicious appetizers and delectable entrees. All the while, he would aggressively go after his staff even when he shouldn't, almost like he couldn't control himself at times. One night while closing, he sent home what was left of his staff, that weren't weak or weak-willed, would return to learn from his genius and deal with his outburst. Thornton gathered up the trash, heading out the back door, when he heard a shrill song in his head. Thornton walked out the back door where he saw a tent in the alleyway. Planning on dealing with a homeless vagrant, he drops the trash in the dumpster. As Thornton approached the tent, he was approached by a short man. The man spoke. "Hello, Thornton. Today is your lucky day. I am Cain, and I need your help with something." Thornton looked on as if he thought, what an unusual man.
"I know this cretin. He is beneath us. Crush him like the worm he is, Thornton."
Thornton shrugged and shook his head a moment, then focused on Cain as Thornton spoke. "What could a lowly chef do to help you, and how do you know my name, Cain?" Cain started looking into the eyes of Thornton as he spoke. As Cain continues, Thornton blinks. "Something big is coming, and I am in need of champions to help me in a fight that is bigger than either of us."
"Look away. Blink, blink, damn you. Most things are bigger than him."
Cain pats Thornton on the back, feeling some kind of presence as Thornton turns and he sees Cain waving at him, and Thornton says, "See you soon, old buddy," as the tent disappeared into nothingness. Thornton replies, "I will help however I can." Cain and Thornton walk side by side as Cain says, "Now I need you to find a vehicle and be ready when I call. I have more people to find for this fight."
"What are you doing?"
"Don't worry, he knows very little and gets us closer for you to make a move. Slow and steady, remember?"
"For now."
At this point in Jonathan's life, he forgot most of his childhood, though he spent most of his adult life traveling to many foreign countries where he explored different cultures and civilizations. Night approached as Jonathan was in the deserts of Libya. Jonathan started to hear an odd music as he finished his work at his current dig site. When Jonathan looked around at his cohorts, noticing he was the only one hearing the odd song, Jonathan excused himself as he told the other workers to call it a night, as Jonathan had a hunch he wanted to check. Walking away from his camp, Jonathan tried to keep it in sight. Realizing he needed to go further, Jonathan brought out his gun as he made his way to the top of a large dune. Jonathan looked down from the top of the dune, and he saw a large tent that he thought had to be a mirage. Jonathan reached the tent. When he reached out his hand to touch the fabric, he realized it was real. Jonathan would be startled by a short man who seemed to move without sound. Jonathan would ask, "Who are you?" The short man circled Jonathan as he answered, "I am Cain, and I can give you anything you desire." Jonathan said, "How can you give me anything I want?" Cain looked intently into Jonathan's eyes as he replied, "The means of how I can do this, or things as this, is of little concern to you. Just get a vehicle and be ready when I have need of you." Jonathan felt like he was in a trance as he agreed and made his way back to his encampment. After reaching his camp, he grabbed his car keys, got in his El Camino as Jonathan drove off. All of Jonathan's cohorts were unsure of what to make of it. Maybe he had been out to the desert too much, they all thought. Mary spent her childhood in a single-parent home due to her father passing at a young age. As a young child, Mary's mother was maladapted to the stresses of being a parent. Between this which continued and how Mary started to act, she ended up in foster homes. Mary started to find her relationships with older gentlemen as she enjoyed their doting nature. Though, as Mary grew up, she she would be called things like gold digger or homewrecker, which she denied, though she was also driven by her strong sexual needs. Mary would spend her future days looking for someone to fulfill all of her days with passion, but found few men or women for that matter who could keep up with her desires. This would lead Mary over the next several years through a myriad of unusual sexual relationships and encounters trying to find the love she sought. Thus, this would lead to an unavoidable encounter between Mary and the holy prisoner Jophiel. On a night where Mary was once again left unsatisfied by yet another partner, Mary decided she would take a walk to clear her head. As she passed person after person on the street, she noticed she began to hear a song and realized quickly no one else heard it. She ended up deciding to find the source. Following the song led Mary to a door. Upon opening said door, Mary found a woman around her age bound by cuffs, and she had wings. WTF, thought Mary to herself. Mary thought she walked in on someone else's fun or BDSM session till Mary heard a voice in her head. Jophiel would then speak.
For a being of great filth, while your heart is still looking for something pure, child.
Mary, thinking she was losing her mind, started to brush it off till Jophiel continued.
I am looking for champions to help me stop her brother and his great evil.
Realizing she wasn't losing her mind, Mary replied, I will help if I can, but I don't know how much good I will be.
Jophiel continued, any help you give, child, will be helpful, but Cain must be stopped.
Mary then asked, who is Cain?
Jophiel replied, Cain is an old being that is hell-bent on destroying the world as we know it.
Mary replied, you mean like Cain and Abel? Jophiel continued as he points to the bound girl, this is Abel.
Jophiel continued, I need you to find a vehicle and be ready when you hear my call, and help me stop this great evil.
Mary was a bit taken aback, though. Once she composed herself, she replied, like I said, I will help any way I can.
Jophiel replied, I must continue to look for more champions. Keep your mind open for my call.
With that, the angel disappeared, returning Mary to the alleyway that she originally walked into. Mary looked around for a vehicle until one caught her eye, and she would use her wiles to get what she wants.